Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with me, Victoria Nolan. Patricia Bérubé is a Carleton University PhD candidate living in Gatineau, Quebec. She is a recipient of both the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation Scholarship and the Joseph Armand Bombardier Canada Graduate Scholarship towards her doctoral research in cultural mediations.
Most of my background in art history and museum studies. And the project I did for my master thesis project was about translating colors for a painting about Alfred Belin, which was then exhibited at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts.
Patricia wanted her master's thesis project to focus on color in romantic paintings. Eventually, her thesis stemmed from a conversation with her professor about the frustration of finding a topic that had never been done before.
I was so upset, and I just stood up and I was like, anyway, what's the point of me wanting to study color if some people cannot even access it, cannot even see it? Why do a whole thesis about it if some people won't be able to understand what it is? And then I started rambling, and I was like, it would be so easy to do a color texture association with 3D printing and then just do it and do a tactile translation,
And that's exactly what she did. She also worked with a group of collaborators who were blind or partially sighted to interpret the project.
Well, I'm sighted, so I cannot fake it. I cannot imagine what it's like to haven't seen color before because I see them every day. So that's when the idea came up to collaborate with people who were either visually impaired or blind. My mentality was like, this is so experiential, so let's be bold about it. And I asked them, from all of the textures you have in front of you, and they had 12, which one is white and why is that?
I asked her to explain the tactile colors.
We recognize the same outlines, which are the black outlines and texture. You have a texture for white, you have a texture which is different for red, and you have a texture which is different also for gray. The black texture is really, it feels more rough, and the bumps are quite high. On the contrary, the gray texture has cutouts in it, and you can feel it when you put your fingers and your nail in it. And the white texture feels really soft and delicate. And the red texture here, there's a lot of bumps, more than the black one, and they're smaller, which makes a very different texture as well.
Patricia's PhD supervisor, Jessie Stewart, is an associate professor at Carleton University.
I think the work that Patricia is doing is really extraordinary and truly innovative and important. I think we're going to see our cultural institutions taking notice of Patricia's work and other developments around accessibility, and increasingly I think we're going to see museums and art galleries become more broadly accessible to everyone.
And what are Patricia's next steps?
Now for the PhD, I'm still going along the same lines, but I want to bring this project further. And having discussed with a lot of participants who are now friends and who are also blind, I've discovered that very few people learn Braille these days, and it's less and less. And they're relying on audio application on their phone, and they don't want to invest time in learning Braille. So how can you have a prototype or a tactile prototype that would be inclusive to all if people don't read Braille? So I thought audio is more accessible, to people, and could also be either made in French or English. So it will be easier than have two sections of Braille in two languages, which would take a lot of place. But I think museums still have to recognize that, artists can come in various shape and form, and art can be, it can be different, and it's art too. So I guess that's just the point I was trying to make here.